And aside, the negotiations that go on that are held between National Grid and the steelworkers are held in the Labor Guild's building as a neutral space. And we send our blessings and prayers to our dear friends on both sides of the table, that these brave workers, this critical utility, can together find the right way home. Now, tonight it's my pleasure to introduce our 2018 Cushing-Gavin Labor Attorney Awardee, Ann R. Sills, who's a partner with Siegel Reutman, LLC. Since Ann's award was announced, the affection and respect expressed by her union clients, her partners, has been heartfelt, demonstrated, and also from several of her clients' employers. There's also an odd appreciation for the millions of dollars that Ann has recovered for Employee Benefits Fund through gumshoe detective work and a lot of expert litigation. As a young Tufts graduate, Ann wanted a career that made a difference, and she eventually found that as a labor attorney. She took a couple of side journeys in the interim, including 6 years at Framingham's GM assembly line as a UAW member, and doing a lot of hard work, but well paid and with great benefits that helped her focus on what was next, going to Northeastern Law School. And here we are tonight. The Labor Guild is proud to honor Ann R. Sills with the 2018 Cushing-Gavin Labor Attorneys Award for Excellence, exemplifying integrity, competence as a gifted attorney and litigator, a relentless advocate for workers, and for all her efforts to provide, protect, and enhance the health, financial security, retirement of her hardworking union members and their families. Ann serves her clients, her firm, and the labor management process with tremendous skill, heart, and a passion for justice. Ann?
So nice to see everyone here, people I haven't seen in a long time. Thank you, Allison, for those kind words and for all that you and Mary do for the labor management community that the Guild serves. I've always felt so welcomed when I've been to your offices. I'm honored and humbled to receive this award, which has been presented to so many outstanding union attorneys over the years. I'm proud to say 5 of them have been my law partners. I'm also very proud to share the stage tonight with Steve and Sarah, and I have to say particularly Steve Finnegan, who I've known since I started practicing law, and who's engaged in such a difficult struggle to get 1,250 locked out workers, unjustly locked out workers, back to work and back to doing the work of protecting us, providing gas services, and doing it safely. And he's working with such a dedicated group of steel workers who are here tonight. President Joe Curlo and his staff, John Bonapane and his staff, and all the members. So I'm very, very proud to be here with you, Steve. My journey to this night started with my parents, who inspired me and my brothers and sister to work for social and economic justice for all. Our parents taught us about the power of collective action. They involved us in boycotts of employers who refused to serve Black workers. They took us to demonstrations. And I'm so proud that all of my siblings, including my brother John, who's here tonight with his wife and my friend and sister Sandy, have taken that commitment into their professional and personal lives. I've also been inspired by my husband, Howie Silverman, who has literally worked days, nights, and weekends for over 30 years, representing immigrants who, if they were returned to their homes, many of them faced prison and death. And then there are children, Emma, Molly, and Alex. They are wonderful, caring human beings who are working to improve the world around them. Whether they're participating in a Big Sister program, whether they're in graduate school studying to be a social worker, working with children and families, or whether they're working for a company engaged in socially relevant research. And I am so happy that Sean, Molly's significant other, is with us here tonight. It means so much to me. Loving this family of mine and being loved by them fills me with joy. And it sustains me when, really on a daily basis these days, I feel angry and worried about what is happening in this country and what is happening in this world. In the late 1970s and early 1980s, when I worked at General Motors in Framingham, I learned just how hard it is to be on an assembly line day in and day out. And I also saw how my union, the UAW, gave workers a voice, and they leveled the playing field. I got hurt on the job, and at that point I decided I wanted to advocate for unions, but to do so as a union lawyer. And how lucky I was to find a home at Siegel-Reutemann. Siegel-Reutemann has truly a well-deserved history of walking the walk and talking the talk. My colleagues are not only incredible lawyers who go above and beyond for their clients, but they're wonderful human beings. It has been an honor to learn from and work with all of them, and to work, of course, with our incredible staff. And I want to give a special shout out to Teresa Sullivan, who has been my teammate and my partner for over 20 years, and who I couldn't do my job without. Thank you, Teresa. I believe that when my friend and my partner, Shelley Kroll, won this award a few years ago, she commented that it felt strange receiving an award for doing something that she wanted to do. And that's really how I feel. I've been representing unions and employee benefit funds for over 30 years. And it's been an honor for me to be on the teams of these unions and these funds. I'd like to make special mention of some of the clients that I've had the opportunity to work with and for whom I have the highest regard. They include the officers of Steelworkers Local 12003, Joe Curlow, Dan O'Connell, Candy Chapman, Marty Hernan, and Steve Hughes, and so many other people from 1203 who I've worked with, Phil and Dan and John and Paul Hannon. I'm so happy to see you here tonight. The officers of Utility Workers Local 369, Craig Pinkham, Craig Connolly, Dan Leary, Heidi Danforth, and Bob Sr. The Executive Board of United Food and Commercial Workers Local 8D. There are many of them, a lot to name, but here tonight, Wally Neal, Tony Dowling, Kurt Storch, and Todd Serafini. Juan Figueroa and Tim Benjamin of the Bakery Workers Local 348. And Lou Mandarini, the Executive Director of the Massachusetts Laborers Benefit Funds. I've learned so much from all of these dedicated trade unionists, and I value them as friends as well as clients. When I worked at General Motors in the late 70s, almost 25% of the US workforce was represented by unions. In 2017, fewer than 11% are members of unions. And it's not just that union jobs are being outsourced or that there are plant closures. We all know that unions and workers are under attack in the courts, at the board, and by legislators all across the country. Those leading the charge recognize that unions empower workers, and that empowered workers can impact not only the distribution of profits, but political change. Unions are democratic institutions with elected leaders. They fight for individual workers, but they have their greatest impact when members stand together and work collectively. Union leaders work for their members, not to enrich themselves. Unions fight to improve their members' wages and working conditions, and in doing so, they raise the standard of living for us all. Fortunately, these lessons are not lost. We have workers joining unions and organizing unions all the time, thank goodness. We can look to the Harvard graduate students recently, and we can look to workers standing up and striking for their rights, the hotel restaurant workers, to mention a few. But I'd just like to take a minute, and I'm going to end very quickly, to address another aspect of the labor management relationship that's been a very important part of my law practice. And that's the importance of communicating with the other side and working together to solve problems. I've had the opportunity with my union clients to work with management representatives and attorneys who also recognize the value of trying to get to yes, trying to get to resolutions that can help us all. Our country is so fractured right now. It's hard to imagine how to bridge the gap between people with such diametrically opposed views and interests so that we can build a society in which people of all races and nationalities are valued, where workers earn fair wages and benefits, and where no one has to choose between being hungry and paying their medical bills. What this divisiveness portends for the future is frightening and it's disheartening. But I believe that the process of collective bargaining that unions and management engage in on a regular basis shows that people and institutions with very different perspectives and interests can listen to each other and can find common good. And these experiences can have an impact that goes well beyond the bargaining table. In fact, that's what the Labor Guild is all about. As the Guild's webpage states, the Guild values the collective bargaining process as an essential engine driving wage equality, economic and social justice in a vibrant democracy. So I'll end my comments as I began them. Thanks to the Guild for this award and for the Guild's contributions to our labor management community and to building a more just world. Thank you.